Right, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of All Things Considered. I'm back after a brief break. I know I haven't been doing these ones as often, even when I started it last year, just because it's early in the morning and if I'm having a rough day or whatever. Sometimes it's hard to get up here, get ready for work, and then come on and do this. So thank you to everybody that's tuned in. As always, support US ARC. Let me set this up. So I actually figured out how to do this so where I can have myself on the screen and then you can still see everything else that I put up. So if you're looking to do your first shipment, you can use code Robin60. It's good for your first 2 shipments through Redline Shipping. All right. So with all that being said, I know I've talked a lot about the guy that was first here, Stan from Sea of Serpents. I just wanted to once again thank everybody that tuned in last week for the fundraising auctions to help support him and his family. We raised almost $18,000 to help him out, and that's just incredible to see the community come together to help somebody out. I'm still in shock, and I'd like to thank everybody that donated items, everybody that bid on those items for our auction on Thursday. Every single item that was up on the screen went, and other ones came in throughout the night. Some of those we missed. I'm not going to be as involved if there is a next one as far as behind the scenes stuff, but I will be sharing that out when I have more information and whenever I get that. Huge shout out to Robin at Redline Shipping and Charlie at Gray Rider Reptiles for providing discounted shipping and free shed testing for the animals that were involved. So that's it. It was really amazing to see this community come together despite our differences, despite the drama, and help somebody out. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Good morning, Phil. Morning, Tammy. Don, thanks for tuning in. We always, it's a new week, new episodes of drama, and I don't want to bring that up here. Last week we also lost one of the pioneers of the industry, Brian Barczyk. I have some animals from him. He was one of the people that got me interested in reptiles again once I started, getting back into keeping more than just like leopard geckos and a ball python, I think is what I had at the time. So he was one of the first channels I started watching. So he really helped, get that motivation, get that interest back up because I was stuck at home during the pandemic and had really nothing to do. So I wound up purchasing 2 animals from him. They're here, they're breeding. I've seen some bad things that were said about him. Now, you don't do that. You can have your opinions, but the man passed. That's just awful. So I'm not going to get too much into that. But, it's a little ridiculous just because you disagree with something he did a while ago, or whatever, that you say awful, terrible things on the internet about him. You wouldn't say that to anyone in his family in person. So don't say it on the internet. Don't hide behind a keyboard. On this channel, I don't want to necessarily discuss any drama, necessarily call anybody out specifically. I'm here to be positive. I'm here to hopefully my internet comes back on. So I'm not here to, let me know if I'm choppy, everybody. I'm not here to proclaim that I'm an expert by any means. I'm here to share, my experiences through this process. What I've learned, what I've seen. I've only been doing this breeding reptiles for, a couple of years now. I don't have a high digit number of fledglings. I haven't produced a high digit number of animals, but at the same time, there's a lot of people in this community that haven't. If you're talking about, don't do things like this unless you're, you've been doing this for a while, you have a lot of experience. Well, you have people on podcasts for the most part or doing videos that have all this experience, but they're not necessarily talking about some of the problems and things that you and I may be experiencing. There may be a video, far back, but it's not something that's coming up often. So, I find it helpful when I can see people putting out content that are in a similar level in this industry and hobby as I am. So, there's nothing wrong with that. And if you choose to start your own channel and you choose to do a live, and maybe you've had a collection, maybe you haven't, I don't really think that matters as long as you're passionate and you're honest about where you are and where you are and where you stand in the community. As far as, you don't want to be out there proclaiming to be an expert, sharing all this, over the top advice. I leave that to other channels. I just share, what I've experienced. And, I really can't stand the people that say don't do it if you're not experienced or whatever. Do you know how many people that I watch or listen to or I've seen that talk about anything else, right? You have football analysts that haven't played football, or at least not at any meaningful level in the sport. So we're okay with having them talk about these things, but somebody equally, inexperienced in, our industry and hobby, you shun them. Why? Is it because you don't want the competition? Okay, but don't put them down. So I will say, as a recommendation for me, if you do start to do live streams, videos, podcasts, get some decent equipment. Make sure you have a stable internet connection. If you do it wired, that way, when you present yourself, to the world, you're not cutting in and out. I know I just had a hiccup there, but my new laptop kind of has a weird Ethernet port, but I'm happy it has one. So you just want to put yourself out there in a good light. You don't want to be on your cell phone constantly, echoing and, having issues with that. Don't be nervous. Don't be, just get yourself out there because, as you do this more often, it'll help you get more confidence. Each successive video or live, you're going to learn things. You're going to improve your craft. And the same thing goes with, the reptile industry hobby in general. The longer you're doing this, the more you're going to experience, the more you're going to grow. So with that being said, I think I covered those two things that I wanted to talk about. Morning Hutch, I forgot to say that when I was talking. So I know for me in 2023, I took a break from doing the lives. I'm definitely taking a break from doing the videos, because I was dealing with some things, and I feel like, oh, good morning, Angie. I took some time for myself to sort of work on things personally, and as much as I like doing this, I also have to think about myself and what's going on here. So I would like to start putting out more videos in addition to doing these lives, on Tuesday mornings and Saturday afternoons. But earlier I sort of felt not only I was going through some things, and videos take quite a bit of time to put together for all the editing and all that stuff that goes into that. And my collection had grown. There's more, work to do here. And I honestly felt that I was putting out the same content over and over, right? So, here's this topic, and then here it is again rehashed a couple weeks later. There wasn't enough for me that I felt that, I could consistently give you things that were new. I didn't want to, talk about the same gene I just talked about, or, something like that. So, this year, I'm feeling a lot better personally, so I'm going to be moving forward, going to try to be more consistent on these Tuesday morning lives and be more consistent, on Saturdays. And I'm going to start trying to get guests again, so I'm not just doing panel interviews last minute, just to have somebody on, that's not just me, because you guys get that here on Tuesday morning if you choose to watch it. I know it's early. Hopefully y'all catch the replay. I wanted to start earlier, but this year with bringing back this show, but the timing just it really didn't work. So the first Tuesday was the day after New Year's, and everybody's always having a little too much fun on New Year's. And the college football games went really late, and I just honestly wanted to catch some sleep. And then the following week I was working on the auction for Stan. So today was really the first day, I think, if I'm looking at my calendar. I might have missed another one, but anyway, probably just still overall being tired and trying to get everything reset, dealing with work and all that. So moving forward, I'm going to try to put this out every week and just talk about the things that are going on here and the things that have happened, within the past week. Trying to keep the drama aside, just so we can focus on the positive things, because I'd rather you tune in to see me than to see me talk about other people. If you're going to talk about other people, I'd hope that you do it in a positive manner, as far as when they've done nothing wrong, right? Now there are certain people in this industry, in this hobby, that have been a bad example, and certainly call them out when their husbandry is beyond appalling, and it's been made known throughout, or things like that, where it's appropriate. But don't, just because somebody doesn't like you or doesn't like your show and has been vocal about it, don't just trash them. If you don't like me, you don't like me, and if you trash me here, I don't care. But I mean, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to talk about the people that don't like me here, right? I mean, you want to come in to watch that kind of stuff, might as well be watching. Well, he passed, but like Jerry Springer, you watch those shows. I mean, if that's what you're here for, then are you here to watch the drama and be entertained by that stuff? Or are you here to talk about reptiles, talk about the community, things like that? So I'd prefer the latter. If you had your first clutch this year, congratulations. If you had your first clutch last year, congratulations. And I don't care whether you've had one or thousands. It makes no difference to me, as long as that passion is there. Because if that passion is there, you're probably going to be continuing to do this in the long run, right? Whether it's on a small scale or a large scale. But once that passion's gone, and you stop actively being involved, I feel like you sort of lose some credibility, right? You may have done this forever, but anyway, enough on that. I don't want to dwell on drama, dwell on shows I prefer not to watch and things like that. So 2024, new year, pairing started last year, but I was sort of wrestling with how to move forward after having a bad season last year, right? I experienced sort of, and I know I talked about this a lot, but I experienced a lot of things that nobody wants to see happen. All in the same year, losing a breeder female, having a clutch almost completely slug out and no viable eggs, having another one, every egg hatched, but 3 of the snakes were kinked. And I did produce 2 of the animals that I had intended on. I produced a puma, but it didn't survive, and I produced a blue-eyed Lucy, also didn't survive. So I mean, that to just have that gut punch of like that excitement of seeing these things in the egg, and then a couple days later, as they're ready to come out, you realize they're not thriving. So I was really reluctant to one, repeat pairings. So I'm not doing that. I'm not using the same male to the same females for those 2 that went. I redid heat tape thermostats, everything. I checked everything. So hopefully, I can correct anything that was possible user error on my end moving forward. But, and also looking at the market and having vended a reptile show last year, I was sort of like, well, do I really need this pairing currently? So what do I want to pair for this year? So, obviously the the recessive stuff, I'm still working that. Unfortunately, the Ultramel stuff might not be going this year because the male's off food, and I don't want to make just double hets. So that one's on hold. I don't want to have anything happen to that male before everything else in that project with Ultramel and the visual pied head Ultramel and the Ultramel possible pied girls until they're up to size. I don't want to jeopardize that because I've invested into getting that project a year or two forward, so I don't want to just make some pies to sort of jeopardize that. So I picked up a male Odienchi pied possible het hypo from Kai that I'm getting in 2 weeks. That's almost ready. So hopefully I can use the pied and het or pied and het pied girls this year. Make some codon pies. Hopefully they test out for hypo, and that's cool. I don't currently have a visual male pied, and I don't have a visual male hypo or anything male 100% hypo. So hopefully I can salvage that. And I am also doing this one. It's a long shot. It's it's a possible blade clown, possible orange ghost to an orange dream, possible double het clown, orange ghost. So hopefully I hit some hit some clowns, and hopefully the hypo proves out, or orange ghost in this case. So I'm excited about that because it's my first shot at even though it's a long shot, I'm hitting a double visual recessive. I'm doing the other pairing I'm doing is a highway to a Bumblebee Spark. That one's probably going to have a lot of shed testing involved. Depending on what comes out. I mean, everything has to be either yellow belly or gravel. And I would believe that I can ID, when Spark is involved, the Puma or the Bypass, and Pastel, I'm pretty good at identifying. But if Spider throws it in the mix with everything, it might be a little confusing. But I want to get some more things in that yellow belly complex stuff. I'm doing another blue-eyed leucistic pairing. It's super pastel leopard butter to a butter Mojave. So the worst case, everything's pastave or pastel butter. And I believe, okay, I am doing the Ultramel pinstripe to cinnamon, just to get some more codons into Ultramel. So I think that's all that I'm really doing this year. Trying, it's not as many pairings as I could have, but I want to try to keep, my production lower than just making snakes to make snakes. So, most of these things are going to be, I'm shooting for an animal to hold back, or to move to some friends that are, also interested in those projects, and then, hopefully have some stuff for my morph market or, a table at a show, just so I can, move some animals that are, better than just male pastels or what I've had lately. So yeah, hopefully, I can have, more than 2 pairings or more than 2 clutches this year, and hopefully they're all successful. So if I can have 4, that's double what I did last year. So it's twice the production, 2 years in a row. I would be happy with that. Yeah. Speaking of work, I have about 9 minutes or so before I have to get off and head to my day job, because some of us, actually have to, have a day job. Not all of us can be, breeding reptiles and rodents and whatever for a living. And, it's great to strive for that. But, at the end of the day, for me, if this pays for itself, if it provides me a hobby, it provides me something I can be passionate about, I'm happy with that. I realize that, I would have to hit the lottery for me to do this full time or be retired. So, it's not that big of a deal for me. Yes. Do I want to produce amazing animals here? Of course. Am I realistic? Yes. So, I don't want to, cut anybody down that's ambitious and passionate, but, the passion's there. I would like this, if I can be successful in this, that would be amazing. But I'm also, realistic that the chances of that happening, based on my levels of investment, based on my space, based on all of that, it's not the odds really have to be in my favor. I have to hit all these, head-to-heads, pause heads to pause heads, which, the odds are just really low. But in the event that I do hit all of that, I'm probably going to buy a lottery ticket too, because that would mean I'm very, very, very lucky. But again, not to be negative, I'm just being, realistic. But yeah, so trying to think of something to fill the last little bit here. I had a plan to talk about a few things, but I didn't want to dwell on them too much. So I've just sort of been rambling to fill time here at the end. So I'll wrap it up here. If you still have questions about the auction on Thursday, about shipping, about the shed testing, you can reach out to me on Instagram, and I'd be happy to help you out. And if you want to know if your donation has been paid for, you can also reach out to me, and I will be happy to reach out to everybody in our group and let you know whether or not it's been paid for. But with that being said, I'm going to hop off of here and finish up getting ready to go to work because I have a lot of year-end reporting and things like that to catch up on. So I will see you guys all on Thursday night on the RWO show and Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Shedding Your Skin. I may or may not pop up tonight on LMK's channel. Depends if I feel like doing the stuff in the background for him tonight. But if I'm there, I'll see you there tonight. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in on this Tuesday morning, very early if you're on the East Coast. And I will see you next time. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe.